tell you the story of the drunk donkey? Once upon a time, there was this weather woman. You can come as a pilot, you stay kind of quiet, but you know you love watching my spin. So put your bonehead shirt on, watch it live on your phone, and drink drunk donkey beer all day. You know he'll be tracking every move it makes.
All right, what's up? Oh my goodness. It might be working. What's happening, everybody? It's been a long time. My crazy few weeks is about over. And things are slowly getting back to normal. But I can't believe everything worked. How about that? Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. This is our daily brew. And it's working. Yay! How about that? Good morning. Friday here in sunny Oldsmar. You like the song? James, we're back, man. I knew you missed us. I hope you did. That song was good because it says sometimes Louis says hi. And Louis was absolutely out of control, I guess, when I leave. And I was gone 4 days this time. And the girls told me he was weirder than normal. I would call and they'd put me on speakerphone and he'd be like, looking for dad. Right, buddy? Anyway, so we're back. We're going to be back all next week. Then we're going to be gone again. We got our big cruise coming up. Gulf Coast Jam. I'll probably be streaming live from the Gulf Coast Jam, but then the cruise, our cruise is coming, the Mike's Weather Page cruise, and then we will be back to normal all the way to Daytona. But I'll be live at Daytona because now we have Starlink. So you're going to get all that you want and more. Probably too much. So anyway, we're going to talk weather. Big shout out ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. It's Friday, Florida. You know what that means. Go stop by our good friends there and give them a support. They love us. We have a lot of great supporters. ABC been with us for 6 years now. The exact same age as little Hunter. And it is Friday. It's hot. We don't have a lot of rain in Florida, so hope you're planning on your weekend. Here's what Mike's Weather Page looks like. Boom, right there. There's all the latest and greatest, if you're wondering. We got a lot of weather to talk about in the middle part of the U.S. We've had weather last night. I'm going to talk a little bit about, but we're going to talk about more what's upcoming. Yay, Amy, you stopped by Palatka. I love that little road going through Ocala past the villages. It goes through Palatka County. I think that's a county. Is it Palatka County? But anyway, Palatka, northeast part of Florida. Beautiful countryside up there. Very wooded, very trees. So first and foremost, shout out to my MBWP Brew crew. We got a big support network over there. Appreciate you guys and gals helping. Crowdfunding our little support for our page. What's up, Steve? How's you been there, Gulf Shores? Or Gulfport, excuse me. YouTube says we're breaking up a little bit. Should be okay here in a few minutes. Might be a YouTube thing. Mary Ann, Louis did miss his daddy. Right, buddy? He tries to be so good. Because he knows for some reason. I don't know why Mike makes me do this. But I'm just going to stare off into space and not move a muscle. Putnam County. There you go, Cheryl. That's what I thought. I'm breaking up bad. That's too bad. I don't know why. Definitely a YouTube thing because I'm streaming pretty good on others. We'll let it sort itself out. Hey, you know what? I actually might need to well, I can do it today. No point to do it today. I'll play with my settings a little bit. What's the secret to get a campsite, Marty? Well, you got to get a good sales rep, and hopefully they call you and one becomes available. I call frequently to get a good one. Well, let's say a couple more hellos, and then we'll go right into the weather. It's been a while, so we want to say hi to everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've been up to, and I've met so many awesome folks the last week. Chris, what's up, buddy? How's it going? Morning, Richard. Oh, who else is chiming in? Aaron, Rio Grande Valley. What? Keystone Heights? Cool. Louis is a statue. Let me see my output video right here. What are we at? My bit rate is 2,000. That's about normal. Anyway, all right. Oh, let's say hello. A few more minutes. Boy, Michigan got beat up, Cheryl. Yes, it did. We got 250,000 without power up in Michigan. And then we got a strong line of storms continuing to move off to the east. Deep low pressure. We're going to talk a lot about. Hunter's looking right at me. I think Hunter's jealous. You want to come up, buddy? Come here. I think he wants to play with his brother. Come here. Okay, you run away, but he'll be back. No Louis cup today. We got iced coffee. Julie was kind enough to bring me some coffee. Texas is hot. May is here. Yes, it's the dry season. Florida drought a little bit better. Still bad down half. You saw my picture from Everglades. It was really crazy to see the Everglades so dry where you normally see water and normally see airboat canals. They were all dried up. Cylindra from the Smokies. What's up, Dan from Cozumel? I think that's where we're going on our cruise, I think. No, we're going Coco Cay. We're going on the Caribbean. Cheryl, it is hot. Yep. It is normal, but it is hot. There's records broken. Records are meant to be broken. Just not too hot. Well, anyway, like I said, I got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to show you. Here's a current look. You can kind of see that low pressure spinning. Unbelievable. That thing was like 980 millibar, a little bit lower than that. Big line of storms, almost like a derecho going through Michigan yesterday, last night. Now it's entering Pennsylvania and New York. You can see it right up here. We got another lot of severe weather, almost like the plains weather off to the east. I'm going to go over the latest SPC, but definitely a significant weather day today to worry about with a lot of hatched areas. That's this general area right here. And we got several days of the similar setup. I'm going to show you all the latest Storm Prediction Center setups. We got a high pressure locked in over the southeast in Florida. That's going to keep the upper Gulf in Florida dry and hot. Kind of normal. Minnesota goes from 90 to 51, right? Minnesota weather is like it saw a state trooper from 90 to 51, Ryan. Flanny Young, good morning. North Fort Myers. Met a lot of your people from Fort Myers down at the Governor's Hurricane Conference. Man, I met so many sheriffs and EOCs and emergency management folks, the industry. It was massive. It was great. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But that's current satellite. Another angle I want to show you here real quick. Then we'll go into a couple other things before we get into the weather. This is water vapor loop. This really shows it well. Look at that low pressure. Crazy. It's pulling moisture all the way from the Pacific. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why is my thing not playing? Let's I wanted to show it to you in motion. There it is. There it goes. All right. I need to close it though, because it's probably eating the heck out of my Chrome. But there you go. Look at that thing spinning away. Yeah, a lot of storms mark Hall in Tennessee. We're going to talk about it. Yes, isolated supercells. All that heat right there. See that? Moisture from the Pacific pulling all the way up around that low. I mean, it's going all the way around, ripping around, big low pressure, crazy tornadoes in Minnesota, in Wisconsin. That's nuts. It's a cyclone over land. It's a land cane. Real satellite imagery. Nuts, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let me show you what we've been up to, though, in a minute. All right, our Furman Power Equipment power outage map. 259 this morning in Michigan out of power. There might be more now. Indiana was 69,000. Illinois 45. You can kind of get the idea where the storms were. Wisconsin, Minnesota leading the list. So you got Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota all pulling serious power problems, with Michigan over 250,000 people right now. So it doesn't take severe weather to mess things up. So office tours. I don't have an office, Charlie Davis. Associated Press came to my house one time to do a big spread on Mike's Twitter page, and they saw my desk, and they're like, that's it? At the time, I only had 2 monitors. I got 3 now. I got a little one-man band desk. I told everybody when I go out of town and do these big events, I'm like, I just love my little desk. I love it. I love my little cubby hole. Anyway, Minnesota, Ryan. Yeah, my wife was, Julie was from Bloomington, Minnesota. That's where she was born and raised. You know what you call a small Coke can? You know what you call a little 8-ounce Coke can? They call those mini sodas. Dad joke. We should do a dad joke a day, Shelly. Shelly, by the way, she's our admin over there helping things out. Most of you love her. She's been with me since 16. Hurricane Matthew, I met Shelly. We had Matthew skirting the coast of Florida. A lot of folks were scared during Matthew. It might have took the whole East Coast for a ride, big ride, but it kind of missed a little bit. Rode that jet stream. Minnesota. Yeah, you know you liked it, right? So anyway, there you go. Power outages. And I got that link on my site, by the way, right up here. Furman U.S. Power outage map. Right there. You click on it. Right there. Let's see what I got now. Oh, then we'll close it out. I'm trying to get my Chrome. Oh, 261. So we got more power outages with Michigan. 261. All right, let's close it. Chrome is starting to not be very happy with me right now. I have a lot of tabs open, more than usual. But there you go. There's the map. All right. All right, let's close that out. Let's see what else I got. I want to go a little bit about what I've been up to. Let me close this out. Here's current radar, by the way. That's this incredible, I don't know if it's the ratio or not. There's a definition. It's got to be X amount of miles with X amount of winds. But anyway, that's a pretty good bow in line of storms through New York and Pennsylvania going on right now. All right. Here's the whirlwind that I've done. I just wanted to bring this up just to keep everybody in the loop that what I do. So the last 2.5 weeks, let's say, I don't know. So this is Dunedin. We had a big setup at Dunedin. Had a very nice crowd doing a Hurricane Expo presentation in my hometown, one of my hometowns of Dunedin. So that was a picture there. Then I did Oldsmar, my real hometown. That was an awesome Hurricane Expo. All this within the last couple weeks. So there's a picture doing that one, Oldsmar. Then I did the Palm Harbor Hurricane Expo. There's an awesome picture there with our fire department here in Palm Harbor. Erica, if you're watching, what's up? So we did Palm Harbor Hurricane Expo. All these I did speeches. Crazy, right? Then I did a RV show in Orlando and met a ton of people in campgrounds from Alabama to Florida doing that one. Appreciate the invite. Then I flew to Kansas City a couple days ago. I posted this picture. You know, we talk about the flyover states. I'm trying to learn my geography. I must admit, I'm terrible with the flyover states. So I did a post about the flyover states. There's a beautiful picture here. I'm sure this is either Kansas or Missouri. There we are at the OSR convention I was at. This was just like a few days ago. This was in Kansas City. So thank you, Tammy and company, for inviting me to that. Then I flew back home to West Palm Beach a couple days ago for the Governor's Hurricane Conference. There was a picture some fans posted. I was trying to find a picture today, and that's all I found. But there you go. That was the Furman setup. Furman was awesome. They had a huge setup there inside the convention hall. It was awesome. And got to hang out with my boys from the Lodging Solutions group there, which we've loved for so many years. That's a little selfie we did. So that was my whirlwind. Crazy 2 weeks, man. A lot of stuff. But here is the tropics. That was the big news yesterday. So May 15th, even though we officially started June the 1st, a couple years ago, National Hurricane Center started doing their daily updates. So every 4 hours or every 6 hours, you get a new update. And if you live in the Eastern time zone, it's 2 a.m., 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 8 p.m. every day until November 30th. A lot of months ahead. So if you want to see if there's any areas, 7-day outlooks now. That was something new a couple years ago. They used to do 5-day outlooks. Now they do 7-day outlooks. That's where they bring out the crayons, the yellow, the orange, the red. And we don't have anything right now. That GFS run from a couple weeks ago obviously was fake, which the GFS is wrong more than it's right. But I still shared it because if I didn't, other people do. And then they come to my page and they want to know why I'm not talking about it. So then I do talk about it. And then several people, including several Mets, call me out and say, that's why we don't talk about it. But then if I don't talk about it, somebody else is talking about it. And then they come to my page and they hope that I'm talking about it. And then they get mad when I don't talk about it. So they go somewhere else to find out. So if any models showed anything, we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to tell you what we think. So there you go. All right. What less winds warm the ocean? Great question. Is it EDON? Yes, 100%. Well, ocean temps aren't 100% controlled by trade winds. Yes, but stronger winds, upwelling of cooler water from below. Yes. So more winds, more waves, more churning of the ocean, cooler waters. So yes, it's not 100% contributing, but yes, winds do cool the waters. So how about that? Tomorrow, spaghetti season. I like it. Pasta plots. Pasta plots. All right, so there's that. I don't think I'm getting any Facebook comments. What happened? Anyway. All right, there's that. All right. Hot. That's right, Allison. So a couple of graphics I posted. We got a high pressure. High pressures are fascinating. Big old domes. High pressures flow clockwise. No rain in the south. No rain across Florida. All that heat's funneling up around, going to that middle part of the U.S., brewing storms, brewing heat. Hot. So there's that. Posted this picture driving through Tampa yesterday on my way home from West Palm Beach, and oh my God. First off, the traffic in Tampa is terrible. But the other thing was the haze. One thing that's you see with locked in high pressure is a hazy heat. Sometimes it's dust, sometimes who knows. It's just hot. When it's hazy, when it's hot, it's yellow. It is brown. And it was very clear yesterday. It was hot. And if you stepped outside, it was bam, hot. But like I said, I don't know what makes me hotter. Traffic in Tampa or high pressure. Because I am so tired of driving on 275, Interstate 4, stop and go. But the new lanes in Orlando were phenomenal. They have new lanes around 27. They added a fourth lane, and that was incredible when I did the RV show. Oh, what else I got open here? Heat today. Okay, heat index. Yes, heat index is a way to hype the temperatures. But in reality, it's what your body thinks it is. More dew point, more heat. Anyway, hundreds all the way through Texas, hundreds in South Carolina, hundreds in North Carolina. We got some hundreds in Florida. We got an upper 90s all the way across the south here, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Hot today, hot tomorrow, hot Sunday. Storms on the other side of this line with the instability up through Tennessee we're going to talk about. But that is hot, man. It's hot. Hot, Francine. Hot. Where's the Devil's Den at, Marla? Never heard of that. We'll talk about it here in a second. So anyway, hot. Oh, other things I got. Rainfall. Okay, so here you go. Next 10 days of rain. Well, it is normal to be in the dry season, the end of May, yes. But the months leading up to it has been dry, so we're in a drought for a lot of folks, Carolinas included. They're getting a little more rain than we are down here in Florida, in the upper Gulf of Florida especially. I flew over to Everglades. It was crazy, as I mentioned. But that's the next rain for 10 days. It's almost to June 1st. This is through May 26th. I'll be in the Gulf Coast Jam. That's good. Didn't Morgan Wallen have a big concert up there? He has his new album out today. Has anybody listened to the new Morgan Wallen song? Eden, that's a good question, but I don't know yet. That's just typical this time of year. When we have a lot of wind shear from El Nino years across the Caribbean, but this year we don't have El Nino. We have La Nina neutral, so the winds will slow down. That strong Bermuda high, more than anything, it doesn't really cool the waters enough to really be significant, put it that way, because the strong Bermuda high that we've seen last year across the Keys, a lot of folks living down there, you can agree with me if you want, but I'm sure you'll agree with me. It's been windier than normal down in the Keys last year. That's because we had a strong Bermuda high, which is a product of La Nina and neutral. Strong Bermuda highs open up that bubble, and we have a lot more winds that push across the Bahamas and down through the Caribbean more. But because of the Gulf Stream being so warm in the Caribbean, it offsets. Trade winds seem like it affects more of the main development region across that intertropics convergence zone, the monsoonal trough that comes across from Africa towards South Africa, or South America, Africa to America. But when we get that equator, lines, when you have stronger winds there, it helps cool the main development region. Right now we have a cooler air or waters off of the Atlantic. That's a talking point for some, but it's a Zippo to me because we don't care about that, especially now this time of year. And really homegrown systems are the story that I've seen since we really got busy in the last several years is homegrown. And it means it doesn't matter what it does in the eastern Atlantic. So anyway, here's your rainfall. If you're hoping for rain, this is 10 days. We'll see. Nothing. Nada. Zippo. This is through the next 7 days. Obviously, where we have our severe storms. Mississippi in no danger of drying up this year. There's been some years the Mississippi has had no rain. This year they've had a lot of rain. So all that water is going to funnel into the Mississippi. So a lot of rain. There you go. Red's about 2, 3, 4 inches. Couple. So anyway, it's not tremendous rain because severe weather relies on heating isolated supercells. They don't produce a lot of rain compared to a long, lingering frontal line system that will not produce as much storms, but maybe more rain. But that's where all the rain's at for the next 7 days. And you might be noticing, well, why didn't this show green and your other one didn't? Well, that green is 0.01. That's like measuring rain in sprinkles. So we really don't, 7-day rain maps, if you don't see blue, none of this is even going to fall on the ground. All right, severe weather. Let's talk about that. This is pretty significant today. We got a large level 4 out of 5, moderate risk. A lot of areas here that don't normally see it. Sometimes these setups are farther to the west, but that's a large area of storms from Texas to the mid-Atlantic, all the way up to Michigan and Illinois again. Why did I say Illinois? Michigan and Minnesota again. But Illinois is included, obviously. Large area, watching today, unfortunately. A lot of hatched areas today. Anytime we get a hatched area, that's significant. Long track EF2s or greater. Unfortunately, large part of Kentucky and that surrounding area today, hatched area. Even the brown areas usually are going to be in a tornado watch, and that's a pretty large area today. Friday into tonight. Severe wind is hurricane force gusts. Large area could see some hurricane force gusts, 74 mile an hour or greater in the hatched areas today. West Virginia, areas that don't normally see all this. Hail. Large area of hatched for hail, 2 inches or greater. These are, it's, the only thing confusing about this is not everybody in this area. This is just the area that's going to be juicy, conductive. jet stream, all that's there. And wherever the storms pop up, it's anybody's guess. It's just that area could see 2 inches or greater in hail. Hail! That sucks. We don't want no hail. Tomorrow. All right, so things push a little bit farther to the east here this Saturday. You can see a large area of yellow tomorrow, and green. Dark green could do tornadoes too. New system, but you can kind of get a sense where that low is at, can't you? Somewhere right here. All this bringing the action. You always get more coastal areas here because it starts to feed off the Atlantic sometimes, and it's warmer up there than usual. So there's a little more fuel in the Atlantic this season so far. That anomaly. Let me show you where to look at. Tropical tidbits. Your anomaly map here. Let me pull it up. You can see the water anomalies a little warmer than normal here across the East Coast. So that's going to help fuel storms a little bit more. Okay. There's storms tomorrow. Let's see what else I got. I think I got tornado outlook for tomorrow. So tomorrow, severe winds, storms, afternoon thunderstorms. We got a little tornado outbreak. So it's not a huge tornado day tomorrow. Could see some across Texas. Is hail, though. Here's Saturday. More hail. 2 inches or greater in hail. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Texas. That's twice I screwed up. That's what happens when I take a week off. My geography skills are lost. But you can always get hail. Low pressures. Cold air way above. Thunderstorms. And they produce hail. Sunday. There you go. New system brewing. What is that thing? Weird bird out there. I got a bleeding heart bush that looks good, and I have all my vines are looking really healthy out there right now. All right, there's your storms on Sunday. Severe weather outlook on Sunday could be significant again on Sunday there, and then on Monday we got a new little area popping. I'll show you why. We got another low pressure coming in off the Pacific for into the weekend, into the early part of next week. So it could be starting all over again on Monday. A lot of days of nasty weather. It's May. Man, my nose itches. And then on Tuesday, same area, a little bit more to the east. So there you go. A lot of days of multiple severe weather ahead. All right. Let's talk about why. I always like to look at this. We got a very deep cutoff low that came across northern part of the U.S. here. You can see it clearly. It's going to spiral itself around. This is going to be the storms tomorrow out of front of it. But then we got our new little system popping out here in the Pacific. You can see it getting going. A couple of them. That's why they're thinking about multiple rounds of severe weather possibly. But this one's going to merge off here, dip a little bit farther to the south. A little more cutoff low here next week. So that's why we got Monday, Tuesday. They're watching this little guy. It's going to be bringing some storms farther south. I thought it was this one, but I guess it's not. This one's kind of coming out of the Pacific Northwest. But another spinning low pressure area. You can see them right there. Omega block. Is that another? Has anybody? Do we have another Omega block? I don't know. Everybody was like thinking that was hype. I don't know. I'm just copying everybody else. But kind of looks like the same pattern, right? Maybe. I'll draw my little pointer here. So you got a low. You got a low. And you have a big old bubble of high pressure. Omega block 2.0. Possibly. So that's what's cooking there. All right, so we got the weather. We got high pressure locked in down below. There's really nothing. Now, we do have signs of a cold front. Let me talk about that. I meant to post this earlier, and I didn't. I forgot. So let's look at temperature anomalies, and let's just go to the blended models here. But there is a cold front coming down after that 10-day break in the weather. Alan, good morning. Pembroke. Ganell wants... Oh, we can have some rain? West Virginia's had a lot of weather, right? Good morning, Ian. How's Jamaica? Richard Reimer, what's up, buddy? You're going to be camping on the beach. Good for you, buddy. How you doing? I was looking at temperature anomalies. So we do have, believe it or not, a cold front showing up that might reach some in the south. What? are you talking about? All right. But watch. Oh, I can't go past 10 days. Oh, yeah, we can. It almost gets there. There it is. There it is. Next Friday. Oh, my God. Are we almost into Memorial Day? Oh, I'm going to fly away. Holy cow. I forgot. By the way, Shelly, me and Emily got a wedding. I got to fly to Minnesota. I don't know if we're going to be live Friday or not. Wisconsin. So there's your anomaly maps. The end of next week, there is a little cold front. See that bubble of cold? This is 10 to 11 degrees below normal. Next Wednesday, you can see that's our next low pressure that's pulling down some cold Canadian air. And it might reach down into Florida. This is the following Saturday. -4. That's not -4 degrees, people. That's -4 below normal. Can't really get too far out. There's your 5-day averages. So even showing here, May 26th, May 22nd through May 26th, things are cool. So there is signs of a cool front. Let me go back to Euro here. Let's take a look at, I don't know. We can go more than 10 days. I don't know. Let's just look at temperatures. Oh, let's look at daily lows. Now let's look at temperature. Let's look at this one. I didn't want that one. All right, let's look at temperature anomalies. Why not? All right. So here's that cold front coming down right there into next week. Boom! God, it's going to be 20 degrees below normal. Below normal. Imagine if I didn't say normal, it'd be 20 degrees below. This is next Thursday, Friday. And it could hang around. It could bring some cooler weather the following weekend. This is next Saturday, Sunday. This is next Friday. Let's look at real temperatures. Now let's zoom in on the southeast. So the following week, oh wow, look at that. 50s. Oh my God. Well, there's a chance. 50s. This is next Friday. Maybe. Boy, it's hot again. But look at this. Highs. So maybe next Friday is the coolest day. The mountains might be in 30s and 40s. But there is definitely some chatter about a cool front coming down. Now this time of year, you don't get too excited with the models until it gets a little closer because sometimes they don't verify. But there is signs of a cool front coming down. It would be next Friday. Still 68 in Tampa, though. But hey, you never know. Let's look at if there's any rain with that. And I did see signs of rain with this potential line coming down next week. You can see our front coming through. See that? So there could be a little rain possibly in this front next week. This is next Thursday. But that's why the 10-day rain maps didn't show much because it's not a lot of rain. High pressure fizzles it out. So don't get too excited. But there could be cooler air at least. That's really going to be the next chance for any raindrops. Raindrops might fall from the sky. Right there. Thursday. So that's what's showing a week from yesterday. Yeah. All right, let's talk about tropics a little bit. I try to go to 10 o'clock. Yay, Bill, what's up? Pretty much dry, buddy. Loretta Reed, good morning. Yay, how you doing? Yeah, May cold front. So I was talking to my dad. Let me drink some coffee. How many of you, can I say old timers? Does that offend anybody? Only if you're named Karen. But he does not remember very many. He lived here his whole life. He does not remember many lows being in the 80s for morning lows. And that seems to be kind of new. You know, we used to have a little more cooler waters, which cool the morning lows. But the waters are warmer than normal the last few years. And that keeps the air temperature warmer. That's facts. I don't know what it was 500 years ago. But it is warm. All right. There's that. All right, let's talk about the tropics. I do want to see what the current temperatures are because we saw the Keys were down to 85. I'm just curious. I wish we don't have our sensor back in Clearwater Beach. I think that's probably was because of the hurricanes. Actual real temperatures. I always look here at Vacay Key. And we'll see. It was 85 last week. What's it at now? Holy crapola! 88. It hit 88 yesterday. 88! Already temperatures 88 down in the Keys. 88.5. Holy cow. I didn't expect to see that. So that's my magic number. Crazy. All right, 80s for all. All right, tropics, we talked about that. Let me just show you real quick. Let me close out some windows here. So here it is again. These are updated before 8, but if you check up by 8, it's already updated. But with no activity the next 7 days. Good news. I don't see anything. Do see the Pacific, though. We talk a lot about that. Here is your 15-day ensemble map. I went into great detail last couple days ago about what these all mean, but basically there's nothing showing. That GFS run that I shared, everybody got mad at me, but I explained why I didn't believe it. But I got people to look. If you post 0, nobody looks. So you have to get people to look sometimes. And hopefully people read the content. But anyway, Pacific side always fires up before the Atlantic. Usually their season starts May 15th and the Pacific yesterday. So the Pacific season officially started yesterday. The Pacific season uses, that's right, 88, man. You remember that beast. I hope. Yeah, 88. Bathwater. I love 88. Well, there you go, Charlie. All right, see, wasn't for everybody. Don't get mad at my dad. But a lot of these systems that come across the Caribbean end up crossing Central America this time of year and get going out there first. So, and believe it or not, the water over there is still a little cooler than normal, but it's still warmer than here. So, like if you look at the Pacific waters, typically are warmer than they are here. Now, if you look at anomaly maps versus real-time temperatures, you can see it's a little warmer over there. So here's your anomaly maps for the week, I believe. There's that section that they measure pretty much for El Nino and Enzo. There's your, so, you know, it's crazy. It's obviously cooler in the Pacific. 30-year averages. Warmer in the Atlantic. A lot of hype about out in the Eastern Atlantic, but like I said, I don't care about it, the Eastern Atlantic, especially in this time of year. Last year, Barrow was a very, 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 very rare system for Barrow to come across in July. I think it was July, and be a Cat 5 in the Caribbean. That was odd. But the waters are cooler in the Pacific. But anyway, as far as actual temperatures go, it's warmer over there right now. Not by a lot, but it is. A couple degrees. So these areas like this part of the Pacific more than the Atlantic early in the season. Well, sea surface temperatures are just warmer, and that's average. That's normal. So anomalies are lower, but the temperatures are hotter. Go figure. Oh my goodness. All right. So May, there's really nothing popping right now. Doesn't mean we can't get anything. Now, you know, the only, you know, so if you were to look at areas, you know, tropical systems need a seed. So we'll go to tropical tidbits. Let's check out the Western Atlantic. So we do have a cold front coming down next week. Let's see if the GFS is picking up on it. I don't even know why I care about the GFS, but I do. There is a cold front next week. and I don't know. Sometimes they can linger, but it's not showing. That high pressure builds back in. You can really start to get a sense of the season now, what we might be dealing with middle season, and that's the strong Bermuda high, and that's very typical for La Nina neutral years is a stronger Bermuda high. You know, and that's why we had a lot of systems last year pushed into the Gulf. And we'll go into that more next week. I don't want to go much past 10, but there's a lot of graphics that I show in history of how an Enzo pattern of neutral La Nina has a stronger Bermuda high, which more west push, and that's just the way it is. The Bermuda high controls the steering a lot on where systems can go and get going. So that's that. Euro. You're looking for anything that sticks around, any low pressure area that might get going, and it's really that high pressure builds back in. It's probably better to look at ensemble maps, but here's that cold front next week, next Thursday. Nothing really lingers. It's odd to not get a system in May. In the last 10 years, we've had more systems before June 1st than not. So the fact we haven't had one last year, this year, is actually odd compared to history. But the high pressure builds back in. Let's look at some winds. See if that high pressure, let's see if it shows up very well on windy. I like to look at the wind maps and see winds, wind gust. Nothing too bad. Here's your basic flow Saturday. Obviously, it's calmer on the Florida side than the Atlantic side because the winds are coming across and they take time in open water to get going a little bit quicker here for the western Gulf area. So it's pretty calm across the eastern Gulf, Florida west side. Not a lot of winds though, so if you're cruising, celebrate that. There's our front next week, Thursday. High pressure comes back in, dominates the upper Gulf. This brings a lot of drought patterns. We had this a couple years ago, you remember? We had this area was drought, this area wasn't. And that's high pressure locked in a couple years ago and really kept things dry across the upper Gulf and Florida west coast there. But also helped funnel in moisture off the Atlantic for the East Coast. So this high set up a couple years ago. I forget what year that was. So anyway, weather in a nutshell. How do you like that? 88, Jim, what do we get when we get 88 miles an hour? I don't know. We go back to the future. Chris, good question on the severe storms for Michigan. That was kind of odd, man. That radar last night was incredible. If you look here, we can look at that. Let me show you what happened last night with Michigan. So, when you get a low pressure over land, in the 980 range, it's kind of like a little hurricane, believe it or not. So what happened yesterday, more than anything, this is old maps here, looking back on Tropical Tidbits. This goes back a couple days. But here's that low yesterday, 988. So as this low was developing yesterday, it basically was more like almost like a little hurricane that came across, right? So you're on the backside today. So you don't want to discredit any storm chances. Pressure is a little higher today too. Yesterday was 981. It actually got down to 979, I think. But yesterday, basically, 980 low pressure area right here. That's low. That's like a hurricane. That's almost like Cat 2 hurricane pressure. So those push storms out ahead, and that's what happened. So today, you're on the backside a little bit less. So there you go. Man, turn that damn thing off, man. Jesus. So a little less pressure, a little higher pressure today, and the main storm line is kind of off a little bit. So, but you can still get a few. Yesterday was that low pressure, But I don't know. There's still some showing. So I wouldn't say zero chances. But the question was as bad as yesterday, and I don't know. Pressure's up almost 10 millibars from yesterday. But this is through to tonight, so yeah, I mean it's not a zero chance. But you were asking why it was so big yesterday, and a lot of it was just fed by this that low pressure. Anytime you get a tight isobar system, man, the winds whip into that and really create a lot of instability. So, but definitely, let's see what the HRR is popping. So yeah, you definitely up that way. You're going to get something again today. Let's look at the latest 12Z. So yeah, a little more ice. This is through tonight and tomorrow. See that thing spiraling? Isn't that crazy? That's the core low. This is what fed the big stuff yesterday down there. This is what we're watching late tonight from Texas northeastward. These little isolated cells popping. And all the parameters, jet stream, cape, heat, all that's definitely showing up strong. Pretty fascinating. So anyway, hey Charlie, thanks for the stars, man. Appreciate that, buddy. But hey, I get it, man. One thing about me, man, I don't try to have any sway agenda. I just compare things to prior years, and go from there. But it's interesting. All right. Well, hey, it's Friday. I got a very important email I got to do right now that I got to do. So I have to get that done with the state. So, but hey, we'll be live next week, probably all week. And then I'm off Tuesday to the Gulf Coast Jam. And we'll be sporadic at the Gulf Coast Jam. And then we got our cruise the following week. And then we're kind of like locked in, sitting on this chair 24/7 through the season. And thanks to Starlink, even during Daytona. Man, I was thinking back to Talladega. I would have never been able to go to Talladega last October because without Starlink, there's no way I would have been able to do lives. So Talladega, I was pretty much inside the RV most of the time because I was doing there what I do here. But there, I was able to do it with my Starlink, luckily, and Milton was kind of forming. So then we left Talladega early to come home to cover the storm. And but I wouldn't have been able to do anything without Starlink. And it would have absolutely... Well, I've tried to do storm coverage without Starlink. And when you go to a large event with people watching Netflix, it's not fun. So have a great weekend, by the way. Hey, Lori, your damn bag came back from Bermuda, by the way. It said it was never picked up. We got to figure this out. It might be a reason for me. Everything I do going to Bermuda comes back. The flight I was on turned around. And the bag we mailed you turned around. Months later. Like it must have sat there 6 months. Anyway. All right, we're going to pop over to the Brew Crew. So, Niceville, yay. Nice to be home, Jose. Thank you. Bermuda is just not meant to be MWP. So, let's see. Green, a lot of, oh God Almighty, somebody, Born Trespasser, yes. Milton was, I filmed with Lacucci River a month later. It was unbelievable, the rain that Milton brought, and the water never went down. Milton was crazy, the amount of flooding. I've never seen. So one of the hot topics that I talk about with my hurricane presentations is the impacts outside landfall and impacts outside the cone. And a lot of that has to do with inland flooding. Is just unbelievable. I think it really started for me with Ian, seeing the rainfall across the state. The secondary impacts of a hurricane that get overlooked sometimes. So, yeah, I hear you, Shelly. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. We will be back Monday. Have a great weekend. I'll be out in the water tomorrow. I think Emily's got a little scrimmage game on Sunday. And there you go. So, see you.